half an hour of spearfishing. Huge cobia bull sharks. That was insane. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Sam the Waterman. Thank you for stopping by again. I'm actually pretty excited about this video. It's more or less going to go down as one of my favourite sessions that I've ever had. Not simply because of the good fish that we landed, but as a package. We had beautiful weather, beautiful conditions in the water, maybe 30-40 meters VIS at the beginning in the morning. Just the huge range of wildlife that we saw, tiger sharks, bull sharks. Oh, it's hard to list everything. And yeah, just all in all, it was an amazing session. You can see in the morning, like I say, it was super clear, but we're going to sort of discuss how not all the time, but often I find that the super clear water doesn't always hold the most fish. So we're going to compare and contrast different spots which have different VIS to different amount of fish and different hunting styles. Anyway, not going to sit here and blab on for 20 minutes. We should get stuck right into the footage. So let's go. Yoo-yoo!
Morning guys, it's currently 3:30 AM in the morning. We got a Moreton trip on today. I'm absolutely frothing, could not sleep all night. Way too excited, I'm literally like a kid. I just hope everyone else is as excited as me, especially this time in the morning. Yoo-yoo! Trusted wagons arrived with Casey. Here we go, baby. We've just arrived at the boat ramp. It's looking absolutely beautiful out there today. So excited, absolutely buzzing. Let's hope we catch some fish. So my crew's running a bit late, but it's okay. It's okay, doesn't matter. The other boat's already left. The sun's well on its way up now. Hopefully not too much longer. I'm still excited. Landon's finally arrived, got out of bed.
We're here.
Ryan, what you got to say for yourself? We're ready and rearing. Stick it in reverse, Terry!
Put it in reverse, Terry!
Yeah, there's going to be that many fish, we ain't going to need the sounder. Not where we're going. .36 meters, you can literally see the bottom. Electric blue. Volunteered to go boat first. Okay, so just dropped the boys in for the first drift. Honestly, the water is looking ridiculously clear. I don't really know if you can tell from that, but man, it is literally like turquoise water. They're currently in about 20, well, it's 21 now, but 24 meters of water a minute ago, and yeah, like it must be like 30-40 meters VIS, I'm guessing, because they said it looked more like 10 or 12 meters. So let's just hope the fish are there. Okay, so in we hop, slow motion style. At this point I am pretty much frothing my bean off. The water is super blue. I can't really believe it. I look over and the first thing I see is Landon doing this drop, so I think I better click record.
the whole way down I was thinking, yeah, he's near the bottom. People often ask me, how deep do you dive? How long can you hold your breath? Well, we're going to explore both those questions shortly. Landon here is basically demonstrating a dive of around, well, yeah, 25 meters. I think he maxed out at 27 meters this day. A lot of the dives on this first spot were around that depth. You can see this is my first drop. We're sort of halfway down already. It looks like I'm nearly at the bottom. Like I'm looking now, I'm thinking, yeah, I'm nearly at the bottom. But because it's so clear, everything just looks close. It's so hard to gauge distance. You can see there, beautiful little blue tang, or like a dory fish from Finding Nemo on the left. You can see all these beautiful aquarium fish as I hit the bottom. Absolutely stunning. The water is so crystal clear and blue. It's really special when you get days like this. It's important that you check under all these ledges. Often they can hide mangrove jacks, for example, parrotfish, sometimes even some lobsters or crayfish. And then you have to make sure you have enough air in your lungs so that you can swim back to the surface. Sometimes it can take up to about 30 seconds to swim all the way back to the top. So it's important that you don't overstretch your breathing while you're down there and pushing all your limits. I've cut the drop out of this dive, but as I hit the bottom, again you can see these cave structures. This is often where all the fish are. Today, with this clean, crystal clear water, the fish were proving pretty flighty. You'll notice from some of my other videos that, you know, on every drop there's big schools of surgeonfish everywhere, but it just wasn't the case today. Now, I'm not a very good free diver by any stretch of the imagination, but I'd like to think I'm a above average spearfisherman. So I'm just trying to show you here how long you need to hold your breath really to catch the fish that I catch. It's not that long, so we'll do a countdown here. 3, 2, 1, and take a deep breath. So at this point, I'm really trying to concentrate on just relaxing as much as possible. Of course, it can be difficult when you're swimming against current. It's almost like trying to hold your breath while going for a jog. So the slower the better. That's what I'm trying to focus on. Still descending here. I'd say this dive is around about 18-19 meters. It's just off the ledge. So these areas can often hold pelagic fish. See how the top of the reef goes down deep into sort of about 35 meters there. I'm sort of hanging halfway down the reef. Have a look around. Often by this point a fish will have swam in to take a look. It's looking pretty quiet this drop, so start making my way back to the surface. Again, you need to make sure you've got enough oxygen in your lungs so that you can swim all the way back up to the top. This can take up to 20-30 seconds depending on how deep you are. Now, if you made it, well done. Maybe spearfishing's for you. So here I'm trying a different technique. This is using a flasher. So here I'm in a lot deeper water. And what I'm doing is I'm leaving a flasher down there, sitting in about 7 to 10 meters. This can often attract fish, so I'll just make a dive down the length of the flasher and sort of find a point to stop beneath it. I sort of noticed something in the corner of my eye on the way down here, and I raise my head and I see there's a pretty big tiger shark. The boys sort of guessed it was around that 3.5 meter range. It was so cool to see. I do try swimming after it slowly, but this thing is just cruising and doesn't want anything to do with me. But it was such a cool experience nonetheless. So it's pretty slow going fish wise. Up to now I still haven't pulled the trigger. We've probably been in close to an hour. Landon, however, had just stumbled across a pretty decent fish.
That's huge. You might want to go push it through and then tie your spear back on.
Yeah, let's do that. I got the easy knot. That's going to be really hard to get there. Sorry, buddy. Didn't mean to leave you that. I was just exhausted. My wheel jammed. So I had to
try and push that through.
Push it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like with force.
We need to buy a bigger rescue.
Every time. I've been meaning to buy you one, I just keep forgetting. Like one of them bags.
We got it like halfway through, or where are we?
It was through, but I tried pulling it through the other end. It was having none of it.
Okay, so yeah, Landon landed a pretty decent fish there. Obviously I'm pretty stoked for him, but at the same time I've been swimming around for, yeah, like I say, over an hour now, and I've not even pulled the trigger. So sort of relating back to what we said earlier, you know, this visibility is amazing, but there's just not heaps and heaps of fish. This did, however, sort of egg me on, the fact that he'd landed a fish and now I hadn't. So it wasn't long before I got my chance. Here we go. Okay, so I've used the flasher here, sitting in the deeper water again, and I've noticed just on the way down a Spanish mackerel does come in. Now I get a big case of blue water fever here. I think the fish is way closer than what it is. My line also wraps around my bungee and we don't even get close to it. But it's a good sign. It's the first time I'd seen a decent fish all day. Landon had seen this turtle also. You notice even the turtles aren't letting us get close today. It can simply be like that in this really clear water. Again, I employ the same technique here. I've got the flasher just stationed behind me there, sitting in about 30 to 35 meters of water. I try and make a slow drop. I'm also doing some grunting noises on the way down, using the back of my throat. I find that this can be really effective too when attracting in pelagic fish. I'm sort of just sitting in about 18 to 20 meters here, doing some grunting. I look over. There she is. There's a pretty decent sized mackerel coming in. It's not huge by any means, but I get a lot closer to it this time and get her a decent shot in it. I've been under for quite a long time now, so I'm trying to get to the surface. Sometimes it can be a bit tricky when you've got a big fish attached to the other end of your gun. So as you can see, I'm coming up pretty fast here. As far as Spanish mackerel go, this would be considered a smaller or medium-sized fish. But for me today, it felt really good to finally get my first fish into the esky. Okay, so good news for me. I finally got my first fish in the boat after a few misses. So now the boys, we sort of all collectively decided that we would change spots. We'd been sort of hammering the same spot all morning and hadn't really got great fish, although Landon did get that big cod. So I also, on the way out, decided to shoot a small trevally, which I plan to use for burley. We're about to check a sort of wave weather buoy. Sometimes you can get big wahoo and other pelagic fish swimming around the bottom of these things. Unfortunately today that wasn't the case, but Ryan had just had a wahoo tear out prior to that, so we thought we'd give it a crack anyway. So after just doing a drift here, we then decided to move again. This time we decided to go closer in towards land. So this generally means that the visibility isn't as good because you can imagine all the river systems sort of pumping out rainwater and things. So we weren't really that bothered because the visibility was so good, and we thought we'd give a different spot a try. So here we go.
Okay, so here we are, my first drop at this new spot. You can see the visibility is still really good here, especially compared to what we usually dive on the Tweed coast. But you can see it is a little bit murkier than some of the spots we were diving at in the morning. There's a bull shark there, or maybe a whaler. It's a little bit hard to tell from this angle. This can often mean a good sign. Where there's big fish and predatory fish, there's often just a lot of fish in general. And here you can see a school of Trevally come in, and I just absolutely blast that one straight through the face. Now, again, this isn't an absolutely ginormous fish, but these Trevally, they are famous for putting up a really, really good fight. I've also done a recent cooking video on my Instagram page, Sam the Waterman, if you want to check out. I think these fish are super underrated, to be honest. A lot of people pass them up, but I think they taste absolutely delicious. I'm just trying to get this fish to the surface now. Again, it's really strong, so I'm trying to pull line in, and I know there are sharks around, but this fish is putting up a really decent fight and just making it quite difficult for me to pull it in any quicker than what I am. Once I get it in my hands, it's just a case of trying to dispatch the fish as quickly as possible and bleed it. Time to make another drop, and as is often the case, once you've shot one fish, you can get on a little bit of a roll. This new spot already feels a bit more fishy, again slightly less clear, but there seems to be a few more fish swimming around. Here come another school of the same Trevally. And again, I take a shot, it lands, it's pretty low, it's almost near like the belly. It is definitely not the best place you want to be shooting fish, especially one that tends to fight so hard and swim around. They can quite easily rip out. So at this point, I'm really just trying to take it a bit easier when you compare that to the last one, which I pretty much just dragged up from the bottom. You can see it's a really long way down, so I've got to inch by inch try and get ground on it without ripping the spear out its belly. Again, you can see it's really fighting hard. It's amazing how strong these fish really can put up a fight, even though they've got a spear sort of halfway through them. I can see at this point there's one of those sharks sort of buzzing around the bottom. So I call the boat over, just so once I get it up to the surface I can get it bled and dispatch quickly and get it into the esky on ice straight away, just to preserve the quality of the meat and also to keep the shark basically away from my feet. Again, here he's sort of giving me a run for his money. It's not making it easy to grab him. Finally get a decent grip on it and again safely dispatch the fish. Okay, so now we're really on a roll, but I'm looking for something a bit better. I haven't come all this way to this new spot just to be shooting Trevally and small mackerel, so I'm pretty determined. I really do want something good today. I noticed a pretty decent looking parrotfish here. Sort of all morning I was seeing these fish, but in the super clear water they are so hard to get close to. But you can compare that to here, where the visibility is only slightly worse, slightly more poor, but the parrotfish just let me get a whole lot closer. Once this fish is in, it's pretty much stoned. I've like spined it so I can just drag it up as I'm swimming up. Once I get it safely in my hands, then you can really start to see the colours of these things. I know there'll be a few people from England now thinking, why'd you shoot that, it's too pretty, but I promise, it tastes great.
See, the problem with Tusky Town is usually the high tide will be like 10 a.m. So you have to hit it first, but today it's blessed. We get high tide on TT. I've had some scary times.
Why do you have to go that high tide?
Because at low tide it's like literal milk, and the bullies come out of the bay and hunt there.
Should we pull the gun and fins in? Or you want to lose it?
You boys look like you're about to go to the festival.
Yeah.
Melbourne Ultra. Let's go.
Okay, so now we are at our final spot for the day. The sun is basically starting to set on the horizon, which is a little bit concerning because we're in sort of this dirty, murkier water, and this is just perfect habitat for bull sharks. So that's constantly on our mind. So this place is famous for black spot tuskfish. So I'm sort of having a quick look around for those. But I have a strange feeling that there's also going to be some pelagic fish around. Don't ask me why, but I just get that feeling. And sure enough, a mackerel swims past. Looks like a pretty decent size one. I line up, and then just as I'm about to shoot, it just quarters away, which is quite unusual for a mackerel to sort of do that. But it causes me to miss the fish, which is a bit annoying. On the plus side though, we now know they are in the area, so it's something that's definitely on my mind. Although I do also want to take out a couple of reef species. On the drop here, it's only in about 11 to 13 meters, so this sort of feels a bit like a paddling pool when compared to earlier. You notice a big rock cod there on the sand. I also know that due to their nature, he's not going to swim away. So I'll plug in. Get a really decent shot right through the head, but again, these fish are super strong and just decides to keep on fighting. Now I am really in the mood for a big mackerel, and sure enough, one shows up here. You can just see, even on the GoPro, this fish is much bigger than the ones we've seen earlier. I get a great shot. You can also see from the height of the tail, this is definitely a bigger fish. Ryan is trying to get a second shot in for me there because he knows how much this fish means to me. It starts really ripping line out. The handle of the reel spin around so fast it actually starts like smashing into my knuckles. So I have to keep my hand out of the way. This fish at the moment is sort of just going ham. It's taken so much line out. I'm just trying to basically ditch my gun and sort of feed my way along the line as best as I can. It's good to see there Ryan being a really good dive buddy and sort of coming along with me for the ride. Yeah, I know he's basically trying to get a second shot in so that we can 100% land this fish. I've had so many fish rip out today. Ryan mostly more than everyone else, so he knows how important it is to sort of get this fish on board. He sees it there, swims down and takes a good second shot.
Massive cobia. I want to see the massive cobia. Unfortunately, at this point, as often happens with these annoying things, my GoPro battery cut out. This is when all the chaos started to happen. As you can hear, me and Landon basically say, massive cobia, massive cobia. Ryan's next to us with a loaded gun, and he swims down, takes a shot on one of these big cobia. straight away it starts swimming up towards us, which is again odd. Cobia often head straight down into the reef and sort of like roll around, turn on the back. They're trying to get the spear out, but this one starts coming up towards us. It was a big fish, and then we look behind and we notice there's two big bull sharks following it up. It's the bull sharks are sort of like between my leg. I'm currently hugging my big Spanish mackerel, and these two sharks just vaporize this cobia. Within seconds the whole thing's completely gone. I'm just sort of keeping my head down and trying to frantically kick towards the boat because now the current is ripping super hard as well. Unfortunately the fish gets vaporized. Ryan loses his spear, snaps his line. It was just completely crazy. As soon as the fish comes off, we also notice there's a school of probably about 30 of these massive cobia beneath us as well. But now we've got two guns wrapped up in my Spanish mackerel from the first shot and the second shot, and the line's just dangling behind us, and unfortunately the third gun is now been sabotaged by the sharks, so there's nothing we can do. I'll eventually get back to the boat, but at least we landed my big Spanish mackerel, which I was absolutely chuffed about, as you're about to see.
Yeah, it is.
Finally, the fish I've been chasing all day. We've had so many rip-ho, wahoos, rip-ho. That was literally the most gnarly half an hour of spearfishing. Huge cobia bull sharks, that was insane.
Here's a quick recap of all the fish that I shot. You can see my nice parrotfish there, some Trevally, and there is that big Spanish mackerel, along with my big rock cod there as well. All really great eating fish. I vacuum sealed all the fillets, they look great. I also did a couple more jaw mounts which I added to my collection. There's the big rock cod jaw right there, which looks pretty impressive, and also my big Spanish mackerel jaw there, which I was pretty chuffed about. If you like this video, please click subscribe on my channel, leave me a comment so I can keep on doing more videos in the future.